The heart. Uncovering the difference between thinking and truly feeling. Have you ever thought you understood yourself, only to realize that your behavior didn't change, no matter how much you analyzed it? In today's video, we're diving into a fascinating psychological concept, the difference between knowing something intellectually and understanding it emotionally. You may know why you act a certain way, but why is it so hard to change? Ever wondered what's missing in the process of self-awareness? Stick around as we explore what science says about unlocking the deeper emotional truths that drive our behaviors. By the end of this video, you'll learn why purely intellectual insight isn't enough to truly transform your life. If you've ever felt stuck despite all your self-reflection, this might just be the breakthrough you've been waiting for. Please subscribe to our channel to stay updated with insightful content that helps you understand the difference between thinking and truly feeling. Also, leave a comment below sharing your thoughts on how you balance intellectual understanding and emotional processing. We often think that self-awareness is the ultimate key to solving our problems. But what if I told you that simply knowing isn't enough? Could it be that there's something deeper, something emotional that's blocking real change? Let's break this down with science. Psychologists have long studied the processes of self-awareness and emotional regulation. According to research in cognitive psychology, intellectual understanding happens in the prefrontal cortex. This is the part of the brain that processes logic, reasoning, and analysis. It's where we make sense of our experiences and create narratives about our lives. This might explain why we can clearly describe past events and their impact on us. But here's the catch. While you can rationalize a situation, that doesn't mean you've emotionally processed it. Emotional memories are stored in a different part of the brain known as the limbic system, particularly the amygdala. The amygdala processes emotions, especially those related to fear and trauma. Ever notice how you can describe a painful memory without actually feeling the pain in that moment? That's because the intellectual understanding is separate from the emotional one. Have you ever found yourself intellectually aware of a fear or habit, but emotionally unable to move past it? Tell us about it in the comments. Let's take an example that's common for many of us. You might understand intellectually that you're scared of failure because growing up, you were constantly criticized by a parent or teacher. You've even identified this as a root cause of your anxiety. But despite this knowledge, the fear doesn't go away. Why? The answer lies in what researchers call emotional memory reconsolidation. Neuroscientific studies, such as those by Dr. Joseph Ledoux at New York University, show that just knowing something intellectually won't automatically update the emotional memories tied to those experiences. Our emotions, stored in the amygdala, remain stuck in the past unless we actively re-experience and process those feelings. This is where the hard work begins. It's not enough to say, "I'm scared because of what happened in my childhood." To truly change, we must engage with those emotions on a visceral level, allowing ourselves to feel what we may have suppressed. That's why in therapies like psychodynamic therapy or EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, patients are encouraged to vividly relive traumatic or formative memories. They don't just talk about them, they feel them again, often in excruciating detail. Have you ever tried a method like this, where you didn't just think about a painful memory but actually relived it emotionally? Let us know your experience in the comments. So, why is this emotional processing so critical for healing? Neuroscientists have discovered that when we emotionally engage with a memory, it creates an opportunity for something called memory reconsolidation. This is when old emotional responses are updated with new information, allowing us to finally release some of the intensity tied to the memory. Think about it like updating an outdated operating system on your phone. You can't just know there's a new version, you have to actually download and install it for the changes to take effect. In the same way, intellectually knowing why we're anxious or fearful isn't enough to update our emotional responses. Only by reliving the memory in a safe, controlled way can we modify the emotional associations connected to it. There's also evidence from fMRI scans showing that individuals who actively process their emotions, rather than just thinking about them, have lower levels of stress hormones like cortisol. This means that emotional processing can literally change the way your brain and body respond to stress. Have you noticed any physical or emotional changes after revisiting a painful memory in therapy or meditation? Share your thoughts below. Emotional understanding versus intellectual insight. Now here's an interesting paradox. Intellectual people often have the hardest time with emotional understanding. You might be great at analyzing and thinking about your life, but not as skilled at feeling it. In fact, studies in emotional intelligence show that people with high intellectual capabilities can struggle with emotional awareness because they tend to intellectualize their feelings instead of experiencing them directly. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Intellectual people often get stuck in therapy because they're great at discussing their problems, but struggle to connect with the raw emotions behind them. This is where the real work lies, letting go of the intellect and allowing ourselves to feel. Curiosity question. Do you consider yourself more of a thinker than a feeler? Have you ever noticed how it affects your ability to process emotions? Share your thoughts in the comments. So, how can you begin this journey toward emotional understanding? Here are a few practical steps based on scientific research and therapeutic practices. Mindfulness meditation. This technique encourages you to stay present with your emotions, observing them without judgment. Studies show that mindfulness can help you connect with difficult feelings in a safe way, allowing for emotional release. Journaling. Writing about a painful memory in vivid sensory detail can help you engage with it emotionally. Include every detail, the sounds, smells, and feelings, to bring the experience back to life. Therapy. Therapies like EMDR or somatic experiencing are specifically designed to help people reprocess traumatic or emotionally intense memories. These techniques can guide you through the process of reliving a memory in a way that leads to healing, rather than re-traumatization. Curiosity question. Have you tried any of these techniques, or do you use others to tap into your emotions? Let us know what's worked for you in the comments. Understanding yourself intellectually is important, but it's only the beginning. To truly heal and transform, you need to emotionally process those key moments from your past. Whether it's through therapy, meditation, or simply allowing yourself to feel again, emotional understanding is the missing piece to personal growth. So next time you think you've figured yourself out, ask, have you really felt it? Let us know your thoughts below. Remember, knowing yourself intellectually is just the start. Emotional understanding is where the real change happens. Have you been avoiding emotional work? What's stopping you from going deeper? Don't forget to leave your comments below and subscribe to the channel.